Alright, so I'm back here with another video, and in this one I'm going to be talking about the Gladius controls and all of the different menu options that you might want to have a look at before you start using the Gladius, so that you can familiarize yourself with what all of the different buttons do and the different ways that the controller can be used. The first thing to do is to choose a control method. There are two different ways you can control the Gladius, using USA mode or using Japan mode. Now, I don't really know why they're called that, but if you take a look in the settings menu by pressing D-pad right and then scrolling across to handle, press A, you'll see you've got these two control modes listed up the top. Now, I really do recommend using the control mode called Japan because it gives you all of the controls over one set of thrusters on one stick. For example, in this mode, the control stick on the left hand side controls your rear thrusters. So moving up will make the drone move forwards in the water, pulling it down will make it move backwards, left and right will make it slide left and right in the water. And likewise, all of the front thruster controls in this mode are controlled by the right joystick. So up, down, left and right. Pretty straightforward. However, if we take a look at USA mode, your left controller kind of does a bit of both. So up and down will actually make it roll left and right, but left and right will make it turn left and right in the water. So all of your attitude control is done using the left hand joystick, whereas the right hand joystick seems to control your forwards, backwards motion, as well as your up and down motion. So I have tried it in both modes, and I really found this mode to be very unintuitive, having control of both sets of thrusters from the one stick. So in general, I would recommend that you start off using Japan mode, just to keep all of the functions of one set of thrusters on the one stick. And back here in the handle settings, I really also recommend sticking with linear power delivery. The exponential power delivery is a little bit less intuitive. You'll push forward on the stick and it will start moving very slowly, but it will very rapidly accelerate. And given that the motion of the ROV in the water is delayed by about 400 or 500 milliseconds back to the controller, you could very easily run into an object at high speed before you even realize that you're approaching it. One other thing I noticed while looking at the video that I had recorded on the Gladius is that the 4K video appears to have very poor resolution at any distances greater than maybe 300 millimeters. So about a foot. Anything beyond that, the picture becomes quite grainy and doesn't look great at all. However, I've noticed that on first starting the Gladius, or first using the Gladius, the bit rate for the 4K resolution was set right down at about 4 megabytes. So the bit rate is going to control how much compression is applied to the video to get 1 second of video to fit into whatever the bit rate is. So if you do have an issue with how the video looks, whether it's very grainy or has a lot of artifacts in it, you might want to crank that bit rate up to about midway, or even crank it up all the way. But keep in mind that that is going to have a significant effect on the actual file size when you come to record and export the video. So you might want to play around with that in various different ways, just to see, just to try to find a good balance between the file size and the recording quality. Coming back to the basic controls, The D-pad functions are actually listed at the top of the screen, the top left-hand corner of the screen. So you can see D-pad up will change the camera mode from video to still photography. D-pad left will come into the camera settings. D-pad right will go into the ROV settings. And D-pad down will change the mode from automatic to manual or vice versa. You can also take a look at the left hand side of the screen. You have a little propeller icon. If I press start, we now have a little cross through that propeller icon. That means that the props are disarmed, and so you can put it into auto stability mode while it's out of the water, and it won't freak out on you and try to run its propellers to stabilize itself. Ideally, you would put it into thruster lock mode and auto stability mode, drop it in the water and press the start button, and it will immediately start to stabilize itself in the water. On the controller, you have these 4 shoulder buttons. The 2 at the top control the lights. So the shoulder button on the right is going to switch the lights on, and the light level is actually indicated down the bottom just next to the 3D model. You've got a little picture of a light bulb and the percentage that light is at. So we're at 1%, and you can hold that button to crank it up a little bit. The shoulder button on the left hand side at the top will reduce that light intensity or switch the lights off entirely. The shoulder button at the bottom left will change from still picture mode to video recording mode. So it does the same thing as the up arrow on the D-pad. I'm pretty sure at this stage the little buttons with the single, double, 3 and 4 dots, they don't really do anything, as well as the X and Y buttons also don't seem to be mapped to any particular function. So if you do have something in mind that you want to map to those keys, I'm sure you can do that in the key bindings, which is located in D-pad right, handle, and keys. I haven't mapped any special keys at the moment because I haven't really had the need to do so. There's also a select button on the controller. This does the same thing as the D-pad down. It will change the mode from auto stability to manual or vice versa. Coming back into the settings menu by pressing D-pad right, under ROV, you also have a speed indicator. You can shift that down using the D-pad, or you can just touch on the screen to drag that down or up or wherever it needs to be. I really do recommend starting out at about 30% speed because, like I said earlier, it's very easy to nudge the stick forward and crash into an object underwater before you even realize that you're about to hit that object. So start out at 30% speed and you can really get a good feel for how the unit should be moving around in the water. Well, that's pretty much all of the controls, all of the important bits anyway. I hope that's been helpful for you. In the next video, I'll go over some of the considerations that you might want to think about when you first put the drone in the water and start using it. I hope that's been helpful for you, and I'll catch you in the next video. Thanks for watching.